Welcome all back to Scott's Sporting Corner. Well, Liverpool had an incredibly eventful weekend, and to discuss it all, I'm joined by Adam Naylor at AKM LFC. So, Adam, mate, how we doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm not too bad. Sinking in a little bit. I feel a bit more optimistic for next season and stuff. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there is only one place to start. On Saturday, it was announced that Arne has been sacked as Liverpool manager. Slot leaves at Anfield just one season after winning the Premier League title, but a disappointing second campaign saw Liverpool finish fifth on 60 points. A huge drop from the standards set in the first season. Originally, me and Adam was going to come on and do a season review, but after the events of the weekend, we were instead going to discuss what went wrong, whether Liverpool have made the right decision, and whether Arne Iraola is the right man to take the club forward. So, Adam, when the news broke on Saturday, what was your initial reaction?
I was elated, shall we say? Um, I don't know. Obviously, the way the season went and everything like that. I kind of wanted him gone like November time. Like, you could just tell the writing was on the wall and everything. Um, and then obviously with the end of season stuff, when we'd finished and everything like that, I was just kind of like, oh, I was coming around to the way like he might still be here and stuff like that. And I kind of thought to myself, like, oh, let's just act like he's gonna be here, and then if he's not, it's a surprise. So obviously, with that mindset, when it happened, I was just like, wow, God, I proper couldn't believe it. Yeah. How about
So,
yourself? Like when you found out?
yeah, so I was training, to be fair. We're at kickboxing, and where we train, we don't get much signal. And I literally come out, my phone started blowing up as I was walking back. It's a good mile back, so I end up getting a bit more cardio going to and back walking there. And it's funny because whenever Brendan Rodgers got sacked, what, like 10, 11 years ago, something probably stupid like that.
Yeah.
I was actually training in the same complex, and I was walking on the same road on the way back, and that's when I got the signal again that time, and I got the same message. Rogers got sacked.
Where
So
was you in the? Where was you when Klopp got the job?
I can't remember, to be honest with you, on that
Well,
one.
wherever you were, go back there.
All I remember about Klopp was I remember sitting on my sofa in his first press conference, and when he said, "Oh, we're going to win title in X amount of years," I would just sat there and was like, "Yeah, mate, I'll be happy with FA Cup." That's like literally my reaction. um, so before Saturday, how did you honestly think Slot was going to be the manager for next season? Like, you know, obviously, I know we said at the end of the season we all expected a change, but as obviously the media narrative has been, what was your honest opinions going into Saturday?
um, I don't know, mate. I kind of thought I was for a while thinking, nah, he's got to go. He's got to go. Like he has to go. He can't stay. And then, as I say, like I feel like I just kind of was like, oh well, I can't do nothing about it. Like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Um, and yeah, I wanted to have like that mindset of like if it happens, it's going to be a nice surprise. I don't want to expect it. I'll say that like I didn't expect it. I'll say that. Um, but timing wise and everything like that, because obviously I've been saying it for a while. Like I sometimes forget that there's a World Cup this year, and with that coming around the corner, like it had to happen if he was staying permanently or going or whatever. Like when it did, in all fairness, because they've got like how long's World Cup away now? Like 10 days, 11 days or something when World Cup
Yeah, just
starts.
something stupid like that.
It's like it's about 2 weeks at maximum, isn't it? So
Yeah.
so it had to happen between like last week and then. So yeah. Um, I don't know, man. What about you? What we like? I know you've just like kind of gone over it a little bit, but like,
Yeah, I mean, before Saturday, obviously with the reporting around it, I kept saying to myself, I don't believe anything unless he gets a new contract. So I just couldn't see a
yes,
world where we start the season and he's got like 10, 9 months left on his contract. I just don't see how that can happen because you think about player power, fan pressure, the media narrative every single month. As the months go down, I just didn't. But even with the reports of the coach coming in and stuff, I was like, it's all well and good he's saying all this, but if he's got a season left on his contract. I've never known a permanent Liverpool manager run the contract down like that. Especially with obviously the narrative surrounding him, how the last season finished, the kind of relationship between the fans and the manager and stuff. But if you had to like summarize why you think they made the decision, the club, like obviously I made a couple of points here, like we've suffered 20 defeats throughout the season. We lost at 1.9 games in 12. I think that was around October, November time. We dropped to fifth in from winning the title the season before. Like I said, a huge drop off from a title winning campaign. You, could you summarise why you think the club have made that decision?
Um, See, like I don't know if I could. I'm gonna have to probably go off on a bit of a tangent here. I don't know if I could summarize it, but we'll see. But I think there's a fair bit behind it. Um, Obviously, the Paul Joyce thing came out yesterday, and he were covering off why he thinks, and obviously that's come from Michael Edwards or Richard Hughes or whatever. But it has to come from like I don't. I'll say one thing. I don't think it had anything to do with Mo Salah. I don't
Mm.
think it had anything to do with that. It could have had something to do with the fact of how many players liked that post, because that to me, and I think it's been pretty much confirmed today. I don't know if you've seen it. There's like an article on the Athletic where it goes into like what was going on in the dressing room and stuff like that. And it does sound like he lost the dressing room. So
Yeah,
I don't know like if there was a meeting between leadership of the players with say Mike Gordon or Hogan or something, and it was fed back. Um, I also think it caught like you mentioned Rogers. Oh, Captain Top. You mentioned Rogers earlier, and I do think it's kind of tied to that where FSG have learned from their mistakes. Like I do think there was a little part of it where they were kind of like, do we just give him a bit more time, blah 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 blah, and then obviously the people that have been there since Rogers was there, like Mike Gordon, Edwards was there when that happened, yada yada yada. You would think that they were kind of like, we've been down this route before and it didn't work out fine. So I think that probably played a little bit of a factor in it as well. And as I was saying over the weekend to some mates and stuff, it's the football and it's the fans in Anfield. Um, I said to my mates the other day, I said, like, we could have finished in the same position where we finished. We'd have had this if we'd have had the exact same results that had happened. The season had played out the way it had, but we played better football. I probably would have stayed with him another year. I'd have been like, yeah, cool, whatever. But
yeah,
because of the results and because of how boring it was, I was kind of like, I can't do another season of this. Can't do it. So I do think there was a fair few things behind it, and so I guess to summarize, I would say potentially FSG learning from the mistakes in the past of when is the right time to move on from a manager. Fan backlash, results as well. I mean, he broke last year. Slot broke a lot of records for the good reason, but this year he's broke a lot of records for the bad reasons. Um, like, isn't this the first time ever that we've not beaten all three of the promoted teams in a season or something daft like that at home? Something
yeah,
along them lines,
something like
anyway.
that,
But yeah, I think that's it, mate. To be fair, I think I've covered everything off. I think.
yeah. Yeah, I had a couple more bullet points saying stuff like relationship with supporters has deteriorated to the manager. There seems to be a lot of frictions with senior players. But also, there's a lack of youth development which has come through since
Mm.
Arne Slot has been the manager, and several academy prospects have moved on. Which I was trying to think this earlier on because when he got the job, one of the kind of I don't know like pros to him, what were kind of being put to us was, he's brought through a lot of players where he's been in the Netherlands, put him into the first team. And I'm thinking, so why has he not done it while he's been at Liverpool? And the only thing I could think was, did he kind of come in and look at how important it is to win week in, week out and go, I ain't got time to get academy players in. I need
That's
to
what.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
the
just
only
about
thing
to
I
say the
could
same
think.
thing. Like I feel, and this is one of the three things that I'm worried about who could potentially next come in is the step up to a club like Liverpool. Like, if you look back at when Jurgen first came in, he didn't automatically start playing the youngsters straight away. He did that after he'd shown and got a bit of time with the fans and stuff. and when he did play them, he played them in, say, the early stages of the Carabao or whatever,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, I do think that that's part of the reason behind it. I feel like Slot was kind of like, oh crap, like I've got to win every game. I ain't got time, like you just said, like I ain't got time for that. So yeah.
Yeah. If we're gonna quickly kind of go back to the end of last season, well, this season just gone. Um, the last four games, I made a couple of points going into that last four. So we had Man United,
Mhm.
Chelsea, Aston Villa, and Brentford, and everybody knew that were going to be a tough end to the season. And on the year, I've said, building up to that, number one, we need a decent points buffer going into there, but also I feel like he needs to show us something in them four games, show us a style of play, show us at least something, and not just crawl over the line to get Champions League football. Do you think them last four games would have had a big impact on his future at the club either way?
Yeah, probably. I mean, um, not to blow my own trumpet, but over on my channel, we did like a prediction from between the three of us of the results and the points over the next 11 games from when we had 11 games left. And I got it bang on the money, like of how many points we'd get. Um, like, yeah, I mean, this is the thing, like, which was kind of doing it in that November, December period where the media and stuff were all talking about it being like a transitional season and stuff like that. And unfortunately, even if it is a transitional season, we have to actually see some kind of transition. There
Mm,
was no green shoots. Of like, oh, something's changing. There was nothing there. If anything, it were getting worse.
yeah,
And to be fair, in all fairness, the only reason why we qualified for the Champions League is because the other teams around us were messing up.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
if Chelsea put a run together, we wouldn't be where we were. And the fact as well that Bournemouth were 3 points behind us, and I think at one point this season they'd not won a game for 2 months,
yeah.
and they were
Beginning of the season, yeah,
and they were like 15th, 16th in league, and they were
yeah,
3 points behind us.
yeah. Well, I think
So
as well, we got when you talk about Chelsea, we got a bit lucky in a sense as well that they didn't win for like, oh, I think they lost five or six on bounce in the league.
mm,
But in that period of time, we were just before that, we were quite neck and neck with them. But then we won them three on the bounce, where I think we beat Fulham, Everton, and Crystal Palace, and that kind of just pulled us away.
yeah,
But the thing is, with the media narrative, around we mentioned then it's going to be a transition season. They changed that because beginning of the season they were like, "Oh, this is opportunity for Liverpool to push on and win two or three league titles, and they've got the opportunity. The other teams, Arsenal aren't there, City aren't what they used to be." But a couple of months into the season, we're like, "Oh, we all knew it was going to be a transition." But you wrote 2 months ago that we were going to go
yeah,
win everything this season.
yeah. They're just, I don't know, man. They all just talk rubbish. In all fairness, and I just feel like a lot of I would say I've not. I don't think I've even said this on my own channel, but I think like a lot of journalists that report on Liverpool news have had their pants pulled down by this whole slot thing at the end of the season.
Yeah,
I think a lot of them have lost a hell of a lot of credibility, if they had any in the first place, because if you switched on and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I've seen a lot of fans actually like coming around and being like, "Hey, what you didn't? I can't. What's his name? I won't name him because it's your thing. And it's not. I don't know. If it were mine, I'd name him. But anyway, there's a journalist out there that's got a YouTube channel. Is all I'll say. Right? If you look at the comments on his channel after this, it's fucking hilarious. Sorry, it's hilarious. Like he's been found out. So like yeah, it's mad.
yeah. And I think as well with the journalist, I've always had the opinion. The problem is, I think with journalism, especially like with Liverpool, because obviously we see most of their stuff all the time, is you can tell majority of them haven't played the game at any level. They've never been in a dressing room. They've never understood the dynamics between a relationship between a manager, assistant manager, a coach to a player. Um, like you said, I can't remember what the guy's name is. The guy who used to be a journalist, but he's kind of the PR guy for the club now.
Oh, what was he called? Bridget Jones. That was his name. Neil Jones.
Neil Jones, yeah. Thing is, I've actually met him outside Anfield. He's actually a really nice guy, to be fair. But if I was one of the other journalists, obviously they know him well, obviously being in the industry and stuff, I would be fuming at him, like proper fuming.
Mm.
I'd be like, you've been feeding us this line for like beginning of this summer, end of last season, and yeah, I would honestly be fuming with him that you basically made us look idiots. Who
Mm.
literally end of last week that we're all reporting that he's going to be kept on. Obviously, I remember watching a bit of Sunday Supplement. I don't usually watch it to be fair, and
Yeah, yeah,
Dominic
yeah.
Dominic King, like I was shocked, I was gobsmacked. I was, I'm like, how? How? Like, it's not. I mean, I was shocked at the timing, like at that precise moment in time. Like, oh, Joe, it's come now. Like, but I was probably 60-40, thinking 60 maybe staying, 40 potentially going. Um, but I think the next question I've got for you, Adam, is so you've kind of already answered in a way, but if Liverpool had finished fifth, but the kind of dressing room was a lot better, the fan relationship with the manager a lot better, and we could see a style of play developing with certain players like Verts and Frimpong, maybe McKirkes, for example. Would you be happy to move on in with next season with Arne Slot?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. As I say, like I could have taken, like obviously if we'd have had better results, but the football was boring, then obviously he stays in a job. But I would, like I say, I'd have taken exact same results but better football because I don't know. Like I've got nothing against him. In all fairness, and he'll always go down in history as the manager that won us our second Premier League title. But I don't know, man. I've always had the opinion that the fact that he won it in his first year has kind of gone to his head. I have always had that opinion, and the way he tried to change too much, and the fact that we sold and got rid of so many players last year, and I was even at a point this year, like, and I never thought I'd say this, where I was missing Nunes. Like, I was like, where's Nunes? Like, even if he don't do much, you know what I mean? He don't score a goal, but at least he brings that tenacity and effort. Do you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, like, I don't know. I'd take him back on a free, me, honestly.
So mentioning about like the season just gone, what do you think was the reason for the downfall? Do you think it was the transfers? Do you think it was slot changing, like ripping up the kind of formation and tactics? Do you think Richard Hughes maybe needs to take some responsibility for the recruitment side of things? Or do you think that the players as well have to take some responsibility?
I'd say probably all of the above, in all fairness. Like, if I start with the players, obviously, it's just like any job, really. You've got to do the best you can potentially do with what the tools you've been given. And I would say for a fact that a lot of those players stopped trying after so long.
Yeah,
And I feel like Richard Hughes got it wrong in the summer. Like, Captain Hindsight now, if we'd have, looking back on it, did we really need to go sign Ekatike and Isaac? Could we have signed a cheaper striker instead of, if we'd have got Isaac and a cheaper one, or Hugo and a cheaper one, and then had some more money to get Mark Gay in? Like that, to me, and the fact that we're letting go of Kanate as well, that just blows my mind that we did not get Gay over the line. Like, it makes no sense. Honestly, it makes no sense. So there's that as well. And I do feel like I nearly called him. Don't matter. I feel like Slot has to take a bit of blame as well, because, and I'd probably say like the data analysts as well at Liverpool, like their job and is to see the changes in football. And why was it that all of the big clubs could see the change that was coming, where they were all going to be more physical and this, that, and the other, but we kind of kept it like, oh, we're going to get some small technical players in and this, that, and the other. And I'm just kind of like, at the time when we're signing the likes of Verts or Kirkes or Frimpong, for instance, you're kind of like, all right, good signings, this, that, and the other. But then when everybody else is going the opposite way, getting big players and they're relying on like set pieces more than usual or stuff like that, something went wrong there as well, where we got caught out
yeah.
with
It's
that
like
change.
we went one way, and the kind of league in general went the other way. But to be honest
Mm.
with you, I think I'd have had more respect for Slot if he stuck with his guns. Because about midway through the season, you saw us getting Gomez launching balls into box from throw-ins, and I'm like, No, you just admitted you're wrong now. It's a bit like when Amram at Man United were playing the back three all the time, and just before he left, he went to a back to him like, "Yeah, you're done, mate." Because if you're so, you've kind of just admitted you're wrong in a way. There's always room for adaptation, and all this, but at the end of the day, if you're like dead set on your system, if you're doubting yourself or not believing in yourself, then nobody else will do. But I think with the timing, one thing I forgot to mention earlier on, with the Slot being sacked, I think it is a bit similar to Brendan Rodgers in a way where I think Rodgers only got sacked then because Klopp was available.
Mm.
And when we talk about Iraola, maybe if Iraola wasn't available right now, Slot may have kept his job for a bit longer, potentially into next season. So I think Liverpool as a club have shown where we don't obviously always get everything right. We don't, no club does, but they always look at the bigger picture when they're going to make a drastic change. Where we say, for example, Brendan Rodgers left, they had Klopp pretty much lined up. It looks like they're going to do the same with Iraola as well. What do you think of that anyway with Iraola? Do you think that's going to be a good appointment? And obviously you wanted the German guy, didn't you? Um,
Yeah.
I always forget his name to be honest with you.
Who knows?
Hunis, that's it. What do you think of Andoni Iraola?
Well, first off, I need to get his name right because the amount of people that I had in my comments yesterday telling me I was saying it wrong is
I
unreal.
saw that.
What is it? Iraola.
Andoni
Iraola.
I think it's Iraola. I think. Am I saying it
Iraola.
right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. I had to get ChatGPT to like break it down for me phonetically so I could say it. So anyway, um, I'm excited, but I'm also a little bit worried at the same time. Like I think it's how do I word this? I think it's potentially more of a gamble than putting Slot in charge.
Do you think?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, okay, like pros, he's got the football we want to see. He's got the Premier League experience. That's they're the pros for me. The cons are he will need to be backed significantly this summer because let's say for instance we how many players would you say we used last season rotation? Like off the top of my head, I'd think probably 17 or something, maybe 18,
Yeah.
19 players. If we're going to go back to the football that we were doing under Klopp when he first came in, we're going to need about 20, 23 players that are first team caliber players to be able to do that week in, week out. And if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I I struggle to see how we're going to see the likes of Isak, for instance, potentially Verts, two of our most expensive signings fitting into that type of football. I can't see Isak pressing from the front like how we'd expect his number 9 to do. Verts, I don't know where he'd play unless he plays in a similar position to where he did that. The lad that you mentioned, is it Krupi?
Group, yeah.
If he plays him like that, then fair enough. I just think that I feel like last summer they went and splurged all this money on a certain type of player to play a certain way, and now you've gone for a different manager that plays a different way, and the players that you've just bought potentially are not gonna fit this style. Like I've seen people saying that apparently Xabi Alonso wants to take Verts to Chelsea or something, and I'm kind of like, I could see that happening, but it would have to be for the money we paid for him or more than what we paid for him. Like I potentially could see that happening because I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of work that needs to happen now this summer.
Yeah.
We definitely need probably another right back because I don't know like how true it is, but apparently Bradley injury is worse than what we think it is. We definitely need at least another centre back, if not two potentially. Left back we're fine for a year. We'll address that next year. We need a 6. We'll probably need another midfielder to come in. Wouldn't say no to Alex Scott, in all fairness. Now we've got that Bournemouth link there. We need a winger for the left, and then we need 2 for the right. because we're going to lose Salah and Chiesa. So technically, right now, we don't have a single player that plays the right hand side of midfield or the right of the front
Yeah.
three. And then down the middle, you've got Ekatike out for. I am pretty much this season just writing Ekatike off. Like, we've had the discussion already, but the earliest he could potentially come back to training would be December ish, and then he's got to get match fit, which is going to be hard enough as it is in the middle of a season. So I'm writing him off for next year. And then is Isaac going to stay fit all year and play Saturday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday? Do you know it's not going to fucking happen, is it? So, sorry. um,
That's all right.
so we've got a lot of work to do. We really do have a lot of work to do. And to tie it back into the Iraola stuff, I just, I don't know, man. I just feel like, and another con with it as well is he doesn't have the experience of managing Champions League football, going for it on all four fronts. If we're going to go for the Carling Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup and the Champions League, like he's never managed at that level. So I have my worries, but at the same time, I am intrigued. I'm excited, and I do like that he is, for me, a mixture, I would say, of Rafa and Klopp. Like, I was watching a few videos on him over the weekend, and the way he breaks down tactics and stuff like that, I'm just kind of like, you're like Rafa, you mate.
Well,
So,
what I'll do for you, I'll sell him to you. How's about that?
go on then,
So
man.
the main cons, obviously, the main worry you've got is Verts and Isak, and one of them, I think Isak, he was that animal at Newcastle. He
Mm.
was. If you go watch any game when he played at St James's Park, especially even was against us, he ran a draggers both on and off the ball. And if I remember correctly, when we signed Florian Wirtz, one of the main attributes was his work rate off the ball in the German league. Obviously, it's another kettle of fish bringing that into the Premier League, but he's already got that base there which Iraola can work with. And I think, yeah, Iraola hasn't worked. He hasn't done Premier League, Champions League, plus other domestic cups all in one. But I had a quick look back at his body of work um, before he got to Bournemouth. And I think when he had Miranda's in the second tier in La Liga, he took them to the last four of their domestic cup. He did the same with Rayo Vallecano while they were in the second division. Then he got Vallecano promoted, a bit like how Klopp did, where he took Mainz up. And then you saw what he did with Bournemouth, a bit like something like what Klopp did then with Dortmund, where he's took them struggling and also lost so many players. Like he's lost Kirkes, Huijsen, the guy who went to PSG, other players like even like Solanke, Philip Billing, players like that, and Semenyo on top. And he's took them from around 16th under Gary O'Neill and got them up. I mean, realistically, if there are situations, if there were a playoff between us and Bournemouth in a one-off game at the end of this season, I would have been worried. I'd have been really worried, to be honest.
On that though, haven't we absolutely spanked Bournemouth as well when he's been the manager? Didn't we beat him like 7-0 or something?
So
Or
I think
six
that
nil
was under Scott Parker. I think.
Oh, was it? Okay, my
So,
bad.
I think so. Yeah.
It's just popped in my
Um,
head now. I've not checked it. I thought that was just in my head.
so I think there's a lot of positives in that aspect, but I think the main thing for me is he's willing to have a go at teams,
Mm-hmm.
irrelevant of where we are, what players we've got available. And by the sounds of it, it sounds like from I saw an interview, a clip what Semenya did. Yeah, it's either his way or the highway. You've got to turn up and be ready and committed to training. If there's no other option, you do it or you're not in the club basically. Um, so I think irrelevant of I, I can accept not winning games of football in the
Yeah,
short
yeah.
term. If I can just see something, a bit like Klopp in his first couple of seasons, where you could see we were just slowly trying to get me. I don't think it'll be an overnight success. I think we're going to have to give him 2 or 3 years, but I think we will see that linear progression going up. Um, and I mean, it says it all really when the clubs like AC Milan, Bayer Leverkusen were in for him. I mean, I don't think Crystal Palace had much chance of getting him anyway because I didn't make sense to me, to be honest with you, going
Nah,
to
it's
Crystal
like a
Palace.
sideways move, that, isn't it?
Yeah. The only thing I could think is obviously he's going to a London club. There's a lot of good connections there. Obviously Palace 2 trophies in 2 years. That's the only thing I could think maybe. Um, you know, I could have seen why he would have gone there. But do you think his style of play is better suited to the Anfield crowd than what Slot did?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I wouldn't say it's exactly the same as what Klopp did when he first came in, but it's very similar. Um, it's it's just it's like what Salah said. Like Liverpool have a way of playing football, and everyone has to you know atone to that. Like go into believe that, and this is how we do it, and don't like change into it, like buy into it. Um, and I feel like Slot didn't do that, and I feel like see the thing is with Slot, right? Last year when we won the league, he didn't change much. He just made a few little tweaks here and there because that's all it needed. And if you remember rightly, going back to when Klopp left, he said that this team's ready. It just needs a few little tweaks. It don't need changing much. And that's what happened. And Slot won the league. And
Yeah,
then it goes to his head, and he starts changing everything
yeah,
um, in the wrong direction. Like I would have been very interested to see how Klopp would have coped with the change that the league went in. With the physicality and stuff like that. I would have loved to have seen how that went. Um, but yeah, his style of football will definitely appease us, fans and stuff like that. Like it's going to be very entertaining. Like Bournemouth are a good watch anyway. Like, did you see
yeah.
him against was it Arsenal towards back end of the season? I think they got to beat like 3-2 or something. They give Arsenal a game. Like, do you know what I mean? And Arsenal are going to win league. Do you know? Well, they did win the league, so um, yeah, like I say, mate, I'm excited. I'm proper excited, but obviously, again, it's still not through yet. Like he's not the manager as of yet, but I fully expect him to probably become it. So,
So if it was Iraola to be appointed as manager, what do you think would look like a success in his first season?
ooh, Champions League.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say top four, but I don't know if it's going to be top five again. So I'd just say Champions League. Like as I said earlier, like if we end up finishing fifth again next year, but the football's better, I'll be happy.
yeah.
Um,
So I know you've kind of already mentioned it, but what work needs to be done this summer in the squad?
yeah. So it looks like Alisson's staying.
Yeah,
Mamadashvili's going out on loan by the sounds of it. So
that's a bit of a red flag for me, to be honest with you. That's a worry, a
I
big
think
worry.
I think he gets sold me after that. Mamadashvili.
Do you reckon?
Unless Iraola comes in and sees something different and wants him back the year after. I don't know. But
Then
yeah,
again, sorry to put in. Then again, I think Freddie Woodman would be a decent number two.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
It just
I think
depends on the length of games he needs to play, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Um,
We, I, yeah, Allison will get injured again next season. It's
yeah,
water's wet. Allison will get injured again next year. Um,
it's
so
a tricky one.
if Mamadashvili goes, you probably keep Woodman, but you probably have to give him a new deal because I think his contract's up. And he
I think
obviously is
there's an
home.
option. I think there's an option, a 1 year extension. I think.
Right.
Don't quote me on it though, but I think there might be.
And he's homegrown as well, so that'd be good
Yeah.
to keep him around. Right back, I think we're pretty much. It all depends on what's going on with Bradley because I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff online,
I
but
saw that report yesterday. Is it that one where that exclusive thing about there's some reporting coming out of Northern Ireland?
yeah, that his career
Oh,
could be over.
I saw something about it, but to be honest, I didn't make much of it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, same. Like I don't know. I mean, obviously, touch wood. Hopefully, it's
I've
not.
never heard of the guy. To be honest, who said it. So
Nah, me too.
um,
Um, but again, if that's true, we need a right back. Um, do we need one anyway? Like, where does Iriola see Frimpong? Is he a right back? Is he a winger? Like, what is he? Centre backs. I think we need one at least. I don't think we can go into next season having no offense to them Van Dijk and Gomez, and then two kids. We can't do that. We need at least one more there.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is you're banking on a 35-year-old playing 38 league games again,
Exactly.
and I
And
thought,
Gomez.
yeah, and you see, I think we could get away with not signing a right back, irrelevant of Conor Bradley, simply because if we keep Gomez but
Mm.
sign a centre half, so we've got the four centre backs, and then Gomez can just float between the two.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
see,
good shout. Good
that
shout.
would be like sound. We can do that,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it is a risk if we don't bring another centre back in because Van Dijk's not getting younger. You know, it only takes probably one bad tackle, one stretch, and it could. You see, if you look at Sir Van Dijk with Leone, with or Xhaka, or with or Gomez, you think we're probably okay. But if you take Van Dijk out and you put Leone and Gomez together, or Xhaka and Leone, or Xhaka and Gomez, you're thinking we're a bit. That's a worry. That's a weak link in the team.
Yeah,
That is
yeah, yeah.
my major concern. And this is I was torn on if we made the right decision on Canate because I could see why they don't want to change the wage structure or his kind of profile in the squad and what they think is valued. But at the same time, it's gonna cost a lot more to bring somebody else in because you've got to pay the transfer fee and best part of them same wages, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I would have just given Canate like a 2 year deal or something. You know,
Yeah.
I would have just signed him up just to cover that off.
Yeah.
But I think then we do need probably a six. And I'm in two minds here because I feel like if you sell Endo, which I think is probably going to happen anyway, and then you end up selling McAllister, which sounds very likely as well. If you were to sign a good six, I don't know who that would be off the top of my head, but I'm guessing probably one of the French lads because I think Elliot Anderson's way overpriced for what he would bring
Yeah.
to the team. You could then potentially move Grav further up and play him alongside Sabozlai or Verts or whatever. Um, and then you wouldn't have to go get another midfielder as well. Or you could just go buy one of each, get a six and another midfielder to go in the middle. But I think you're already going to be struggling for minutes for players anyway, because where does Verts and can you put Verts and Sabozlai in the same side? I don't know. Like, do you just do like the double pivot? Does you have a six, say, with Sabozlai next to him and then Verts in front? How does that, what I mean? How does that line up? Um,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I
then,
think. Go on,
sorry,
sorry,
mate,
mate.
no, you go on, you go.
I'm going to say the beautiful thing is when a new manager comes in, everything's out the window. So Jones's future, Elliott's future, players like that who you think were going to be out the door. Under a new manager, it's anything's possible. So
Yeah,
I think Curtis Jones had so much legs into midfield, and I think someone like Harvey Elliott we missed massively last season.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like if he's
Like,
going to do that, Verts behind a striker type thing, Elliot could be the person that you rotate with him.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And then Jones could be the person who rotates with Sabozlai or Gravenberch next to a six. Jones
yeah,
could take McAllister's minutes. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
that being said, if Jones stays, you need to give him a new contract because I'm sick to death of people walking away for now. Um, and then, as I said earlier, we need at least two wingers for the right, or you get one that definitely plays there, and you get another one that can float across. Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
I mean, I'm jumping like 12 months in advance now, but I could see us this time next year. Van Dijk's gone, Gakpo's gone, um, Allison's gone. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I was talking to Gareth the other day, and I was saying, when it comes to the attacking line, and this even before we were talking about Iraola and all this stuff. Now, I'd literally go out and sign Somerville, Jared Bowen, and Harry Wilson, and just be like, listen, you're all good Premier League direct players. Probably maybe Jared Bowen's a bit more technical, but we've already got the quality up top. We just need the numbers and the durability and lads who can come in and potentially play 30, 40 games across different competitions. I, Obviously, it's a bit cheaper as well with West Ham going down and Harry Wilson's a free, etc. I would look at that and go, for now, then you could still then go and sign someone like Diamande because, you know, players like Jared Bowen, he can cover right wing and up top as well.
Yeah. That Harry
Until someone
Wilson's a
like
good shout, because
yeah,
he'd be homegrown and he'd be the other
the
homegrown as
other
well, where he'd spent
yeah,
so
yeah,
much
they're
time.
both funny, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be.
It popped in my head the other day, and I was like, you know what? It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't
Mm,
surprise me at all. Um, but top end at pitch, we need a lot of work doing, don't we? Because
yeah, we need. I'm stuck as well because I don't know whether to get. Do we go out and get another striker? But then when Ekitike is back, and then as I say, you skip forward 12 months.
yeah,
What does that number 9 position look like? Do you move on Isaac because or do you move on Ekitike? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's hard because back end of last season, I was talking like, are we gonna look at the 4-2-2-2? But obviously, everything's up in the air now because it's not Slot the Elm anymore. So, I mean, realistically, if you look at Bournemouth play, they would usually go with a more one, like a traditional number 9 with an attacking midfielder and two wingers either side.
yeah, like a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, that's how I've always imagined Bournemouth. Though, instead of like Evan Nilsson up top, and previously it was someone like Solanke up top. But the thing is, the good thing with Iraola, he always gets the best out of his wingers and attacking mids. People like season before last, Clivert were fantastic. Players
Yeah,
like Krupi now, Rayan as well, the Brazilian lad, absolutely fantastic. And that's what I'm most excited to see. Whatever, like someone like Rio, I think he's going to thrive. I think he's going to thrive under Iraola if he does come in. But yeah, we definitely do need some work top end at pitch, and that's why I think it would make sense to look at someone like even I think Somerville's quality,
yeah, man,
absolute
that'd be a good
quality.
signing. To be fair,
We
I'm
were
just
linked with him a
looking.
couple of years ago, weren't we? As
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Before when he was still at Leeds, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at Bournemouth's lineup. So you're right, what you're saying, like a 4-2-3-1. But there's also this other one here where he does like a 4-1-1-3-1. So you have like instead of having a double pivot, you have
yeah,
one sat deep, one in front of them. So you have like say Tyler Adams is sat deep, and then Alex Scott is just in front of him, and then you have the 3 in front of them two.
yeah,
So that could be a way how you'd get Szoboszlai and Wirtz on pitch at the same time.
yeah.
But
I mean, to be fair, if I were Iriola, obviously talking hypothetically, like does get the job, I'll just turn around to Squashline and Burns and go, mate, we've got like 60 plus games a season. You're both going to play. It's just some games you're going to play and some games you're going to play. You know,
yeah,
and to be honest, I wouldn't mind Szoboszlai dropping a bit deeper.
yeah.
Like we saw it after we won the league. He did trial it, didn't he? Where Szoboszlai played a bit deeper, started spraying passes around
I
when
liked
McAllister
that, to be
were
fair.
injured.
That was in pre-season,
Yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And we just never, for whatever reason, we never actually saw it. During the season, we didn't see a lot of things during the season, to be honest. But that were one of them, to be fair. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of work what needs to be done. Um, Going into the summer. How much do you think it would cost to get this squad ready for next season? If you had to have a rough guesstimate in your head.
Oh, wow. Um, hmm. Figures nowadays are so inflated, it's unreal. I'd say you need at least 200 mil
Yeah,
because if Jan Demande is one of them, that's 100, 80 to 100 by there. If you get Harry Wilson on a free, that's your front line sorted, I'd say. If you get them two in, you're probably going to need another 60 max for a number 6 that's not playing in the Premier League. Um, Maybe go out and get like a 30, 40 million pounds centre defender. Um, Jesus, man. It's gonna be at least 200 million. Yeah, it's gonna be.
yeah.
I suppose like if they don't get Yandy Amande and they get someone else like you said, get a Bowen and a Wilson or whatever, and then you put the money into midfield or defense or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy this window. Like if I was to like pick a few players just off the top of my head now for midfield, someone like Alan Varela could come in and be a 6 for me, or that Sangare or Kamara. Defense, centre back, you're probably looking. I'd probably be looking at someone who's like 24 upwards to come in. I don't know how many who you could get for a decent price. You know, like the one would have been Mark Gay. Um,
Yeah.
does he go
Yeah, I
back to
just
Bournemouth and get that? Is it
yeah,
Sensi or something like that? Does he get him
Mark
or
Hennessy, yeah.
Senensi?
See
Yeah.
for me, I'd look at the Palace centre half for me.
Lacroix? Is it La Rox or something?
Lacroix, I think they pronounce it.
Lacroix.
Sure already he's available for like 30, 40 million quid.
Oh, if that's the case, then yeah, I'd go get him. Yeah,
I think he's around that same age bracket, a bit younger than Canate, which for me
he's
I think
quite
we need.
fast as well, isn't he?
Yeah, we need because you think you got Van Dijk who's like 34, 35. You got Gomez who was like I think like late 20s now. Is he Gomez? Maybe something stupid like that. Maybe a bit
If he's
older.
still in his 20s, I'm gonna flip my lid because I remember when we signed him. I'm gonna have a look now. Like, how old's Joe Gomez?
But then we've got two kids as well, so we need someone to bridge the gap, don't we?
He's 29. Get out of
Yeah,
here.
same age as me then.
Get
But
out of here.
I think the thing is, why I'm excited about Iraola is I remember when Klopp first come in and he was like, right, we've got no defenders, we'll just go and attack.
Mm.
And I made a quick note saying I want a manager who is excited to work with the players we've got as well. Because we have got a lot of good quality players and not be too fussed and worried about, well, we need this, we need that, we need this. All we heard from Slot last few weeks of the season was, oh, we'll fix it in summer. But what type of message does that send to the players you've currently got? I mean, I won't play for him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, mate. He's some of the stuff he's come out with all season. That thing about Calvin Ramsey still grinds
Yeah.
my gears. It's stupid.
But you don't
That's
think
one of them
Callum
things.
Ramsey could have been ready for us now? For
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
we may not
exactly,
even need centre right back if he'd have played more season just gone.
exactly. And it's like there's other stuff in that article from the Athletic where apparently some of the dressing room or majority of the dressing room was like, we're wasting Sabozlai at right back.
Yeah.
Like apparently that was mentioned or something, but um, I don't know. Like he wasn't very inspirational, was he? But going back to what you were saying about Klopp, look at some of the players who we got like the best out of, like that he came into. You know, like Adam Lallana, for instance.
Oh,
Like
Arne, yeah, he's the one I always think of. Yeah.
he was. No offense to him, like he was so good at Southampton. I can understand why Liverpool signed him, but when he came
Yeah.
to us under Brendan Rodgers, he was rubbish.
Yeah.
Like,
He struggled, didn't he? Yeah. He
and
really
then as
did.
soon as Klopp got hold of him, yeah, he was injured a fair bit, but bloody hell, he
Yeah.
didn't stop running.
I actually think in kind of Klopp's first season, Lallana one of our most important players.
100%.
Like, while we were still fixing other bits of the team, he were popping up with important goals. He were being that creative spark in midfield. And that were all because Klopp believed in him and were like, oh, he's my guy. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's what I want to see in a manager.
what about Henderson?
Yeah.
Another one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, James Milner. You know, the players that were already there. You know,
I think big one is Firmino as well.
oh, of course, yeah,
Yeah.
Firmino, yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, obviously,
Rodgers
he
didn't
didn't
know
get
what
the
to do
best
with
out of
him.
Benteke, but no, I don't think anyone could have got best out of Benteke. But you know,
So just to bring it to a head, so obviously we spoke about Iraola a lot, but for you, would he actually been your first choice as replacement, or would you have gone down a different route?
don't know if I'm just blinded by the whole German thing with Klopp, but I probably would have tried to go for Hunis. But looking at it, taking off my own bias, shall we say, I can understand the reasons behind hiring, if we do hire him, Ariola. Is that how you say his name?
Iraola,
Ariola.
Iraola, I think.
Iriola.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to pay a release clause. So you've got that straight away done and dusted. He's got Premier League experience. He's probably ready for the next jump. The question is the jump to a Goliath like Liverpool too big for him? And I suppose you won't know that until he's got the opportunity. I mean, if you look back over recent years, managers with already within the league at lower clubs that have jumped up to bigger clubs have all kind of failed. You know, you've had the lad who's the manager of Sweden now, what's his name?
Oh, Graham Potter.
Went from Brighton to Chelsea, failed. You've had well, everyone fails at Chelsea. I'd be surprised if Alonso's there in a couple of years. Um, you've had Unai Emery at Arsenal. I know that wasn't exactly within the league and stuff, but he took a jump up to another club, failed. Um, David Moyes, Man United,
Yeah, yeah,
failed. So it would be, if this was to come off, it would be against the grain, shall we say. And obviously, at some point, your luck has to change. So I don't want to sound like I'm very down on the appointment. I am really, really excited if we do get him, like the brand of football and everything like that. But I think kind of tying it into what you said earlier on, we would have to be patient with him. Like it's not going to be an overnight success. I don't expect him to come in and win the league in his first year just because Slot did it.
yeah.
You know, we'll have to see what happens next year in the league. There's no more Pep. He's gone. In fact, if you actually were to look at the top teams, United have got a new full-time manager. Chelsea have got a new full-time manager. City have got a new full-time manager. Arteta, he's been there a while, but and he's only just started doing something that's making them win. Villa have obviously got Unai Emery still, so they're the only two really. Spurs have got a new manager that's permanent,
Yeah.
going into a full season. So you only really have two teams, like at Villa and at Arsenal, where the manager's been there a bit. Everybody else is fairly new.
Yeah,
So
well, it was just going to bring me on to my last question for you, mate. If you take away Arteta at Arsenal and Emery at Villa, and you look at the rest of them, would you swap Iraola for any of them managers, like Maresca at Man City? Did it got De Zerbi at Spurs? Alonso is obviously the Chelsea one, and Carrick at United. Would you swap any of them to come to Liverpool?
um, it might be a bit. This might be a bit of a thing that most people won't think I'd say, but probably not. No, I won't swap him for Alonso. Like I've said it on my channel. I think I've said it to you as well before. Like, are we blinded by the fact that Alonso played for Liverpool to think that he is the next Messiah? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you take away the Alonso factor that he played for Liverpool, but he's still got the same managerial career that he's got now, is he an outstanding candidate?
Well, this is it. I were talking off camera over day to Gareth about it, and I basically said, obviously, the reporting is that Alonso would only come under certain conditions and certain criteria, with hierarchy and stuff. But I honestly said, there's only certain managers at Liverpool Football Club that I would bend over backwards for and say, yeah, you can have whatever you want. For me, Alonso doesn't fall into that category yet. He could do one day, but with respect, I don't think he's at the level what the media perception is. When he could be a fantastic coach, but I also think there's a lot of blinded loyalty one way to Alonso. I think
Mm.
we laud him and do all this. We've got to remember he's a manager who was a player. He went to Madrid, leaving us. When we inquired about him again, he was like, "No, I'm staying over here. Then I'm going to Madrid as a manager." And then now he's jumped ship to one of our biggest rivals. I would argue, outside of Everton and Man United. So I don't think the love is replicated either way. To be honest with you, um, but talk about the question what we said. I think we've out of them lot of managers. I don't think we could get much better than Iraola, to be honest with you. As in, like the current crop of top managers taking away Arteta and Emery were already settled in and got the feet under the table at their clubs. But before we wrap it up, mate, is there anything else you want to add on?
Um, I just think as I know we will because we're known for doing it as Liverpool fans, but we just need to be patient. With the new manager when he comes in, whoever it is. Obviously, it sounds like it's going to be Iraola. I'm never going to get it right. Iraola, Iraola, Iraola.
Yeah.
We've got to be patient. Give him the time. Obviously, it's the first time at a big club, so let's not all jump on his back and start booing again. I don't want the one thing I'm scared of is I don't want us to become like Chelsea and like all right, he's seventh come Christmas. Let's get him out. Like, let's not be doing that. Like, but I don't want to be like Arsenal as well. Like, trust the process. Yeah. Um, but yeah, and again, probably I guess just to finish off with the whole Slot era, you'll always be remembered for what he did in your first year, bringing us number 20. But it was time for a change because there was no sign of anything coming from you. You rang out of answers this season. Thank you for 20, but it was time to go. So, and anyway, another thing I want to shout as well is you and your Benidorm thing, man. Like, I've been enjoying all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
over
It's been
over
all right, mate. Yeah.
over Twitter and stuff. So I share it whenever I see anything pop up on my timeline, and like I saw the result yesterday, 1-1 in the first leg of the final or something.
Yeah,
Which is a
yeah.
bit
Well,
weird, isn't it? Playing legs in a final. Can you imagine if Champions League was over legs?
yeah.
But yeah, big shout out for that, man. I'm enjoying that, and I would never have known about the team if it wasn't for you and obviously Dunk as well. So, yeah, man.
Awesome. Appreciate that, mate. Yeah, so I'll give one little word on Arne Slot. I think Arne Slot is a good coach, and I think he is going to go on and have a very successful career. You don't do what you've done. You don't take FC Utrecht nearly to winning their division. You don't take Feyenoord beating other clubs, bigger clubs in their league, and not be a bad manager. And also, you don't come in and replace a legend and do the impossible job of winning the Premier League in your first season if you're a bad manager. I also think if he was a bad manager, we'd have plummeted down the league this season. For whatever reason, he managed to just hold it together till the end of the season. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't pretty, but he got just about the bare minimum done, where other managers we may have capitulated. You look at Chelsea, you look at Tottenham, you look at Man United previously. I do think I think his style of football is suited to mainland Europe. I think he'll go, which has been linked to AC Milan and other clubs. I do think he'll go to a club like that and do well.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I could see him in Italy. I could.
yeah, it's just for where the league's gone and what he wants to do. You saw his results in Europe were pretty decent for us this season. It's just it hasn't worked out, unfortunately. But I also want to say, I saw his open letter this morning. I just think, why didn't you speak like that as in the press conferences,
Uh,
mate? That connection, you've just like, where's that been?
yeah, yeah,
Where has that been?
yeah. I
That is
thought
what
that
we
as
want
well.
to hear from you all like last 2 years. If you spoke like that, we'd have been like, mate, we're behind you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, but it's just unfortunate he's put it out now, unfortunately. But yeah, thanks for coming on, mate.
No
I know
problem.
you're a busy man.
No problem, mate. No
Um,
problem.
and yeah, hopefully, well, I'll be on your channel in the next couple of weeks. What I found funny, well, actually, before we call this up, was we agreed last week for this, and it's historic for one of us has got something going off. It's like, oh, do it week after. Irrelevant which way around it is.
Yeah, I'm already thinking of like when we do our video for my channel, there'll be some of that happens then.
No, it's all good. Thanks for coming on, mate. And yeah, like I said, it worked out pretty good in them because we've got to speak about some different one from what others are doing. And yeah, it looks like Iraola is going to be the man. And yeah, we'll probably get you on again before the season starts and see where we're looking, mate. But thank you for coming on. And yeah, if any of you guys haven't already subscribed to Adam's channel, I presume you all have. But if you haven't, there will be a link in the description for that. So thanks for coming on, mate. And yeah, we'll speak again soon.
Cheers, man. Can't talk. So, cheers, mate, for letting me on, and I'll always be ready to come on whenever you need me.
Cheers, mate.